Good evening again, folks. So one more before I go to bed. I'm really sorry about the lack of videos today, but I had a lot of business I had to take care of. Going shopping for my family with 6 kids, 2 of them teenagers. Uh, I pra- I get teased by the cashiers because I'm like a Stepford wife. I have to like organize my cart and shit. And I do the majority of our shopping at one specific grocery store because they're constantly having sales on meat. I have a giant chest freezer, so I like load up on frozen vegetables and shit because, God, they go through it quick, don't they? I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Where are you putting this? Um, and my husband didn't believe me on how long it takes me to go shopping until I took him with me once. And like halfway through the store, he's like, how the fuck do you not lose your ever loving mind doing this? Because, you know, it's not like a thing of, well, do I have milk? Do I not have milk? You know, what can I buy? Or what do I have some of at the house? It's like I have to get everything because old Mother Hubbard is in the house constantly. Bitch doesn't go away. She doesn't know when she was worn out or welcome. Anyways, so last video we talked about Scott Taddick, and I wanted to discuss some of the blood patterns in Teresa Halbach's vehicle and what I can discern from that. Now, we know that Stephen Avery's blood was found near the ignition switch and I think one other place in the vehicle. The rest were all Teresa Halbach's. So we know that on the driver's side seat, there was a transfer stain, which is indicative of a bloody part of the body making contact and then pulling away. So to me, that means that Teresa was either attacked outside of her vehicle and got in it in an attempt to get away, or she was attacked in her vehicle and the blood smeared. One of the two. We know that in the back seat of the car there was blood transfer stains on the latches to release the seat to cause it to go forward. Because I don't know if you know this about a RAV4, but the back seats, you can fold them down, and then if you pull a certain lever, the back seats, once the back parts are down, they'll tilt up, giving you more cargo room. So to me, that sounds like something nefarious happened in that back of the car. There was a single drop of blood, a stationary drop of blood of Teresa Halbach's, I believe, which indicates that Teresa Halbach was stationary at the time that blood dropped, meaning she was unconscious or she was already dead or close to death. She wasn't moving. There were impact stains on the back hatchback panel, and there were transfer stains and smears from her head on the passenger side rear interior panel. This sounds to me like she was placed in the car, in the cargo hold, and driven to a place, either already dead or unconscious. I don't think she was killed in the car because there's not enough blood. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Now, to me, the way that these blood spatters translate is Teresa Halbach was attacked either getting into her car or in her car already. So she was attacked. We know that much. Her unconscious body is placed in the cargo hold, and I'm willing to believe that she was raped back there. I find it interesting that they didn't swab or didn't attempt to identify any other bodily fluids in the back of that car. Because if those seats were moved, that means that they needed room for more than one person. Now, I actually have a theory as to how she actually died. That fragment of the skull that shows the hole that Eisenberg tried to say was a bullet hole does not look like a bullet hole to me. I actually have an experiment coming up in the relatively near future. A friend of mine who is a hunter is going to be putting down a pig. And I want to use, I would like to purchase a pig and do an experiment. You know, it helps that my family loves pozole and tamales. So the meat won't go to waste, folks. So pigs are used in forensic analysis. They are used for experiments in different tool marks. They're used for shot blasts, basically any method of death. And the reason is that pig flesh is the closest in the animal kingdom in consistency to human flesh. So when you sock a pig, you're getting a pretty accurate idea of what it would be like to sock a human. So this friend of mine is going to be putting down a pig in the next couple of weeks. I have asked him to, he's going to be using a 22 long range rifle. I have asked him to shoot the pig in the head. I have then asked him to peel back the skin and take pictures of the skull. I have asked him to retrieve the bullet and take pictures of that and send the bullet fragments to me. I've also asked him on this same pig to, once it's dead, obviously, we're not cruel. I've asked him to take a hammer to the skull. And I will tell you why. Aren't you excited? Okay, folks. So here's how I feel it went down. I don't think she was shot. She was hit blunt force trauma. She was killed by blunt force trauma. And the reason why I say that is that if you look at that picture of the skull, and I know I need to get a screenshot of it. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm tired. But if you look at that fragment of skull and you look at that ridge, when you shoot someone in the head, you don't get a smooth indentation like that. There is a main break, and then the fracture points flare out from the center because it's a high velocity hit. Now, with a hammer, you're going to get an indentation of the skull. You're going to get splintering at the impact site. But for the most part, around that wound is going to be relatively smooth. Now, if she'd been thrown in a high heat fire, enough heat to do that kind of damage, the broken part of the skull directly under the impact point would disintegrate and burn away. But the rest wouldn't. Now, if she'd been shot, the gaps in the skull, the fracture points would have widened because all of the compromised bone would have burned away. So you would be able to see it very, very clearly. I don't think she was shot, folks. She was killed with a hammer. That is my theory for the evening. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. Feel free to leave some comments down below. And yeah, look forward to my pig experiment. So thank you very much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.